Good morning, Bill.
Good morning. Just like I said a few minutes ago, I'm exceptional. I'm not average.
Absolutely.
So
Well, I
we had
agree
our,
with you there.
oh, I'm doing great. And today my computer will stay on the entire time, not like yesterday where we had two little videos. My own fault. I've come to the conclusion now that my computer needs to be rebooted or turned off and turned on. I don't even think, where you put it under the tools and you do restart. I
Hmm.
don't even think that's good enough. I think I need to turn it off and then actually turn it back on. And then it doesn't do this. And then
Mm.
take out my Jabra headphones that I don't use anymore that keep coming back no matter how many times I delete them. And that's become a game now, so that's fun. Uh, so it won't be two videos today. But like always, before we started this, we were talking a little bit, and we were talking about our latest we'll call it chapter in our journey on the perfect body. And the perfect body again is not the same for everybody. I'm not going to be walking down the what do they call it, the runway, you know,
Right.
with the Victoria's Secret models or anything. But uh, it's so the perfect body is different for everybody, and we don't. We're only actually sharing our journey for now for the first 90 days. I'm pretty sure we'll probably share it a little longer, just the results and things, because they will be so positive, and we want other people to enjoy the same type of positive results that we are. Uh, but before we started recording, we were talking about that, and of course, I said we should have been recording this, and we weren't. So then I hit record, and so now we're going to do a replay because
Okay.
we both learned our lines of
Yes.
what, what the first part of the recording was. Your turn.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bill. So we were sharing that not coincidentally, but synchronistically, we decided to weigh ourselves this morning. Your reason was yours, mine was mine. I just kind of needed that knowing what I weigh now based on the initial goal before I ad-libbed or changed it a tad in our conversation prior to hitting record, and realized that I had set a goal to release 50 pounds. That's my goal. And so that would bring me to a certain weight based on what it is now. And I also found out that I was 7 pounds lighter than I thought I was based on what my eating habits have been thus far. And then we were talking also about uh, what Bill is doing. That he started yesterday. And I had started back to my normal routine of walking again. And I expressed that I love walking because it's very, for me, very meditative. And and
First,
I just,
first, she told me how much she weighed when she stepped on the scale, and then I said, "I'm not saying I stepped on the scale too, but I'm not saying how much it
okay,
was." That's where it started, and then it got
right.
really interesting on our perspectives on the perfect body. This
Mhm.
isn't all about how much weight we lose. Even though
Correct.
my goal is to lose 45 pounds, it might take a little bit more than 90 days, depending on how much muscle I get in with that
In the
as well.
process.
So
Mhm.
we shared that. We shared that she was lighter than she thought she was. I was a little bit heavier. Uh, I was uh, I was 229.1, and I thought I was going to be about 226 to 227, so a couple pounds heavier. And my goal is, like I said, to lose about 45 pounds. I'd like to get back down to fighting weight, even though I don't want to fight. Yeah, I just want to jig, get down to about 185 for health reasons, because healthy mind, healthy body is so important in the things that we do, and so we talked about that a little bit. Before that, we talked about the color of our clothes because she's not in purple today. Um, and
For
then
me also.
like I said, we would hit the record because we want to share as much as we can successes. and with people to help them feel motivated and feel success in what they're doing. And that's when she talked about, or maybe I even mentioned, oh yeah, it came across because I said, yeah, and I even got on my treadmill today, and now I've made that a game. The more you can make something a game, in my opinion, or a challenge to yourself, if you're a competitive individual like I am, you'd never know I was competitive, but I'm competitive. Um, that's where the walking came into because I started back up on my treadmill yesterday, and I made a joke yesterday that I had to dust it off, which wasn't true because my wife had been using it, but it would have been dusty if it had been up to me because I had not been using it because I don't like to walk. I don't like to walk outside. I don't like to run. I don't like to do any of that stuff. And that doesn't mean that I'm an inactive person. I love running from first to third playing
Right.
baseball, or when I was younger, running, going deep for a touchdown pass or something like that. Those type of things excite me. I love
Mhm.
that type of stuff. But the other just seems I lose my focus and it's a little bit boring. Now, today I was listening to a book, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which is a fabulous book if you haven't read it. And you think it's about a man, but it's about seagulls. And it's about a seagull's journey in self-development, really. And so it's a fantastic book. If you haven't read it, it's really, really, in my opinion, fantastic. It's basically how he evolves, and this is my second time or third time going through it, probably third at least.
Mm.
It's about how he evolves and becomes enlightened as a seagull uh,
Wow.
compared to all the other people. He's basically the Jesus of seagulls. So
I love that.
fabulous book. I was listening to that. And then I realized that yesterday, and these numbers may seem small to some people, but to me, they're pretty good. And again, like I said, I hate to walk, I hate to run, but in the past, I hated it too, but I did it. I did it because it was good for healthy mind and healthy body. The only
Mhm.
reason I did it. It was no other reason at all. It had nothing to do with how well my clothes fit because they already fit good.
Right.
I could run a mile and a half in 9 minutes and something. I and I hated running, but I made it into a game
Hmm.
at that time as well. At that time, I was the leading chief petty officer for the recruit training command in Orlando, Florida, and I needed to feel like I was better than everybody else. And even though I wasn't quicker than anybody else so much, I could run backwards as fast as the Navy said you had to run forward for your
Mm.
PT test. So it was just one of those things. So
Right.
yesterday I did 25 minutes, just under 25 minutes, and it was 1 mile. And that was my first time back on the treadmill for a long time. So today I decided, well, I want to do it in 20 minutes. Since we just started, I don't want to do too much. So I made it 20
Right.
minutes. I wanted to make it a mile. I did it in 20 minutes and 20 seconds. And the only reason I remember that number is because they're the same number, 2020. Um, it would have been good if it was 2025, but it was 2020. Uh, and you think I could keep my focus walking? No, but to be able to keep my focus, I was listening to a book, which is a fantastic way for those of you that are trying to do things in personal development, like listening to books, or reading more. Listen to books. Listen to them on a walk. Listen to them on the treadmill. Listen wherever, and you accomplish two things at the same time. So I did it, and I did it in 2020. So I didn't meet my 20-minute goal. Tomorrow I definitely will. And then I'll
Mhm.
move the goal steadily up until it's at least 2 miles, maybe in 30 minutes. I don't know. I haven't figured out the time for the 2 miles yet, but I'll do at least 2 miles. And since Sophie said I could mention her name, she put me to shame yesterday, but I didn't feel shame. I felt
Right.
support because she
Mhm.
was sharing what she did, and I thought, wow, she walked, and I'd have to look at my phone now, but it was a phenomenal amount of steps.
Yeah, it
Um,
was like slightly less than 26,000 steps, which is about
I think that's
10.
almost 10 miles.
Yeah, that's about 10 miles.
Yeah. And she didn't even come over to visit, I mean, just because she's in Australia, so she did almost 10 miles, or maybe she did do 10 miles. I'm not sure. But then again, she walks, I think, every day, but if not every day, almost every day. And she was already at 12,000 steps in a given day. Now, I can't say how many steps because on a treadmill, your Apple Watch or whatever for me doesn't record the number of steps. It only the
Hmm,
treadmill will record the the distance that you did. Doesn't
okay.
mine?
Mhm.
Mine doesn't tell me how many steps. It just tells the distance. But my Apple Watch won't tell me how many steps because the watch itself really didn't move. And I guess that's how it records how many steps you walk. I don't know. So, and it's a cheap
Another,
Apple Watch.
yeah, another reason why Apple, um, I'm not a fan of Apple. Yesterday I walked 15,095 steps. Today I am at 11,297.
So
So that's
4 miles.
about yeah, just about. So my watch is counting my steps that I'm walking, um just up and down the steps every time I have to go downstairs, come back upstairs, walk the dog, go back down, come back up anytime. So it's keeping track. I have it pretty snug to my wrist. And that's a Samsung watch, not an Apple watch.
You're an Android phone, so you would have an
Yes.
Android device.
Um, but when even if I don't have my watch on and my phone is on in my pocket of my pants, my workout pants, it tracks my steps. And so yesterday, went to the store and we walked around there for about 30 or so minutes. And so that's just taking all my steps into account. Um, and like
It
you,
doesn't matter how you get there.
correct. And like you, Sophie put me to shame as far as her amount of steps, but there was no shame in what I do because I walk 3 miles. So I'm walking 3 miles an hour and I walk 3 miles in an hour, sometimes a little bit more. It might be 3 minutes or 3 mile, 3.27 miles. Sometimes I get to three and a half, but there comes a point where I'll cut off and I'm like, okay, it's time for me to go back. Like if I'm walking on the trail, I walk 30 minutes in and 30 minutes back. And I know now I look at a tree and I'm like, okay, that's the tree. So even if I don't have my watch with me to give me the time, even though I always have my phone, because from time to time I do like to stop and take a picture if it just, and sometimes I wish that the picture that my eyes catch is the picture that my phone does, but hey, it is what it is. I just enjoy the view.
See,
And she's
I
more
was
of a tree.
thinking today about walking outside, and the one advantage to walking outside is you have to come back. So
Yeah,
no matter how far you walk, you have to come back. Where on the treadmill, you can look and say, "Oh, I feel tired, and it's
right.
only been 10 minutes. I'm going to get off, or whatever."
Hmm.
Uh, so that, and I actually was thinking about that on the treadmill. I was thinking of the positive thing of walking outside.
Outside. Yep.
Yeah, and then I thought, well, there's positives on here too because this tells me what my heartbeat is. This tells me, I'm walking over 3 miles an hour as far as the speed. Uh,
Hmm.
so, there's good to everything if you want it to be. Or I could have jumped on the treadmill and said, I got to do this because I'm in this perfect body challenge, basically. And if I don't do it, people are going to say, see, mindset's not what it really is. But the truth is, this is about mindset.
It definitely is. I will say, Bill, that we discussed about how chewing your food and taking your time eating. I've been doing that. And so for the last 2 days, I can definitely say, um, one thing I figured out is that if broccoli is cooked too long, becomes too soft, and it's hard to chew 20 times when the
Yes.
broccoli is melting in your mouth. That being said, or even so yesterday
Try
for
cabbage.
so yesterday for breakfast, and it wasn't really breakfast because for me, in addition, for me, the perfect body consists of a detox, and I'm having to detox, which I've been getting these headaches from the sugar withdrawal.
Mm.
And so for me, things happen pretty quickly, and so it'll be for probably by the end of the week, I'll have
And
let
when you talk about
release the
sugar, you're talking about refined sugar. You're not talking about sugar
correct.
from fruit or anything.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. And so what I'm experiencing right now also, because by now I would have already eaten breakfast or eaten something. And so what I've chosen to do for me that works really well is the fasting part from the last time I ate, which was at 6 p.m. last night. Um, to give myself until I'll eat probably around noon or 1, and then to eat between the hours of 1 and 6 is when dinner.
And see, even though we are not dieting, this
Mhm.
that's part of, well, each one of us is on our own journey, and we're
Correct.
going to do whatever we want to do based on the programming that we have. And like you're talking what people would call intermittent dieting, where they wait, I think it's 15 to 18 hours or something
Mhm.
in between before you eat
Yeah,
breakfast.
correct.
And I'm doing whenever I get hungry.
Right.
So it might be 15 hours, it might be 18 hours. Like yesterday, I don't think I ate breakfast until around noon. But this
Mhm.
morning, I was hungry at 9 o'clock before I came in here. So I had a tomato with some olive oil on it and a hard-boiled egg, and it was
Mm.
plenty. But what I
Right.
didn't do this morning, now that I think about it, is wasn't counting my steps because I was having a conversation, or not my steps,
Mm.
my chewing, but
Right.
because I was having a conversation. But yesterday, all day long, and even before that, we had this conversation about a week ago, the three of us,
Mhm.
about the things that we can do to assist ourselves, even though we're not dying. And
Correct.
that was, don't eat unless you're hungry, quit when you're
Mhm.
full, chew your food at least 20, each bite 20 times, and take your time eating. You take a bite, lay
Mhm.
your fork down if you have to. So because most people, if they actually time how quick they're eating, I mean, it's like it's a marathon, not a marathon. It's like a race. How quick can I eat
Mhm.
this stuff? And they're not tasting it. They're not really letting it do what it's supposed to do for your body. And this way, you actually have time to realize, hey, I'm already full, and you maybe don't eat everything on your plate like we were taught
Right.
as kids. So those were basically the only requirements or the only commitments we made. And simply by having that conversation a week ago, I find myself almost every time. And maybe I did think about it this morning, and now it's becoming such a norm. I don't
Right.
remember it, but I almost all the time now I think about the 20 chews. I
Right.
thinking about what the flavor is
Mhm.
that I'm eating, even though I always tell and this is something I did as a kid too. I always told my mother, this is delicious, you know? And it became to where that was just what I said, even if I didn't even have to wonder or think if it was delicious or not. I just said it. And
Right.
I still do that today. But I think food is delicious unless it's cottage
Mhm.
cheese. And then you can have it all. You put me on a cottage cheese diet, I'll lose the 50 pounds this week uh, because it's the most disgusting thing. And you know what? Here's a funny tidbit. My wife looked it up on Google somewhere, and it looks like people in my age bracket have this thing about cottage cheese. So it must have been something that, as kids, this was a popular item, and we were forced to
Mm.
eat it, and we hated it. So now, people in my generation, it's quite prevalent that we hate cottage cheese. See, again, kind
Hmm.
of normal, but I'm an overachiever. I don't just not dislike it. I
I
hate it.
hate it. Yeah, and so, part of this conversation was really about how although we're the three of us are on this journey together, we are all practicing and doing things that work for us individually. So for me, being able to fast and then eat, so just so that we're clear, when I'm choosing to fast, number one, for me, I'm trying to detox my body from all the unhealthy things that I did eat. Now, anything that you eat, whether it's cookies, whatever it is that you eat, when you eat it mindfully, it doesn't have the same effects as I'm going to eat this entire bag of cookies because I can, because I want to, and because whatever your reason is, right? And so when you mindfully eat everything that you eat, nothing that you eat even if there is a negative perception of this thing, you know, a piece of candy, if you're eating in excess, anything that you do in excess is always just not good for you. And that's why you find individuals that even really skinny people that have really severe illnesses because their eating habits are very they're not mindful. And so they're just consuming, whether you're a vegetarian, whether you're a meat eater, whether you're a pescatarian, and all the other Aryans that there are. If you're doing things in excess and you're not allowing your body to tell you what it is that you need and then listen to your body and respond accordingly, and you're just eating whatever the heck, or you're restricting yourself to just eating one thing instead of listening to your body saying, hey, I need this, and it shows up in different ways. You know, either you get headaches, or you wind up that you're losing weight, or you find out that your iron is low, and you find out that your sugar is low, your sugar is high, your blood pressure is high, your blood pressure is low, and all this is with the food. And so when you're being mindful, and if you can think of a time, for me, the reason the fasting period is longer, and my goal is to eat within the hours of 12 and 6. It doesn't mean that I eat at 12 and I never eat again, because the eating once a day for me, even though I did it for many years, is not a thing any longer.
It's
It
not
was
really
a
healthy
thing,
either.
right? It was a thing for me many years ago, and I ate once a day, but that affected my iron levels. It affected my blood sugar levels being really low. And so I would have like dark eyes. I would bruise extremely easily.
Mm.
Like I could bump into something and I'd have bruise and it looked like somebody was kicking my butt because I was bruised up. And that was just because I wasn't eating. And so now for me, like a perfect example, yesterday at noon, I had one egg. Normally I'll eat two or three because I'm like, it's protein, it's not sugar. So I had one egg and I had an avocado. And I put cayenne pepper because I love cayenne pepper. And I put a sesame seed seasoning on there, like an everything bagel kind of thing. And so that was the seasoning, so that I'm not putting too much salt on my food. And I'm really not a salt person. So I'm also trying to understand why my blood pressure is up, because I don't consume a lot of salt. That being said, when you eat a lot of processed foods, they contain a lot of sodium. So it could be a combination of that, stress, hormones, as a woman, you know, experiencing those different things. So I'm trying to listen to my body, and just make better choices and be very mindful. So last night I cooked my broccoli a little too long. And so I wasn't able to do 20 chews, but I did have steak. And so while it wasn't 20 chews because it was filet mignon, I it still I was chewing with purpose and not just taking a bite, taking a couple of chews and then swallowing. I was actually tasting the food. And so just in the two days, and I had started this when we had our initial conversation about chewing and slowing down. I had already been trying to put this into practice prior to when I decided that on the first, brand new year, brand new days, I'm going to start it then. I've been more mindful. And last night I tasted my food and it really did taste really good. You know, kudos, two thumbs up to the chef. But it felt good to sit and enjoy a meal, and really at the end of it, I was satisfied. I didn't feel like I needed to eat, and I didn't feel bloated and like, oh my God, I can't eat for another 2 weeks.
That's really something you said a lot of stuff in there that was important. The mindful part is the most important thing, because it doesn't come, it's not just when you're eating. Being
Right,
mindful when you're chewing and stuff is fantastic. You need to do it, but being mindful about the fact you only ate one egg
right,
and you were still full after you ate your meal, or satisfied after you ate your meal. For me, it
correct.
was I didn't have any snacks yesterday. I walked
Mhm.
by my cracker jar 2 or 3 times at least, minimum, that I thought, oh, I'll just have a cracker with a little butter on. I love saltine crackers. And I didn't do it, not because my mind was saying, you're not hungry, so
Right,
why are you doing it?
absolutely.
And it was basically just mindless eating. Chew. My wife says you like to chew. And that's all. You just like to chew. So another good diet, if I was going to go on a diet for me, would be to have all my teeth extracted. But I'm not going to go to that extreme. So, but I did have a craving for some sugar yesterday. So I had an
Mhm,
orange. Even though as I peeled the orange, I'm thinking, you're not hungry. Why are you
mhm,
eating the orange? And my mind is saying, well, an orange is healthy. Remember when they used to tell you as a kid, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. The more oranges you
uh-huh,
eat, the better. The citrus. Oh, my mind was all over the place about how great that orange was. And then I heard Wayne Dyer saying, I lost 20 pounds by not eat my, I took orange juice out of my diet. That's the only thing I
mhm,
did. And I lost 20 pounds. And I'm thinking, oh, this has got a lot of calories. It's got a lot of sugar in it, but it tastes good. You know,
mhm.
and I had the orange. Uh, but I actually was
Fine.
mindful about why I was eating. I was eating it because I was craving the sugar. This is better than going and having some cookies, or this is going better than that, and I'll get better as the time goes on. And I was thinking about
Absolutely.
another individual, can't think of his name. He's on Mind Valley. And he says, if you're going to eat fruit, eat it in the morning because if you're going to eat the fruit, it takes the body during the daytime to actually digest fruit, and you should actually eat it in the morning. That was coming through my head last night as I was eating the orange. So
Right.
now, as my mind is all set on that, um, you said something really good there at the end, and I went on to the mind part of it because that was the best part of it. And anyway, it'll come back to me because it was something that I thought was very interesting. But again, back to Sophie, who's not here because we're having our not a party. We're we're having our Zoom meeting together, the three of us. This is our support meeting. Where we're going to celebrate these type of things together, and we're going to talk about any challenges. Like maybe the challenge for me last night was the orange, talking it through. And we're going to do a little 30-minute Zoom thing together. Uh, or well, as long as it takes whatever. It might take 15 minutes, might take an hour. I don't know. But it's all about support and celebration. It's not about the fact that I was 2.5 pounds heavier than I thought I was going to be when I
Right.
first weighed myself today. And I won't weigh myself again for till the end of the month because
Mhm.
to me that's letting your programming take over.
Right.
So I won't do that. And then the next day, I have a phone call with Sophie, and then we haven't decided when you and I are going to do it. And we're going to do a closed-eyed meditation that we can record, that we can listen to on a daily basis, that talks about these things to your subconscious mind. Now,
Mhm.
I'm a little bit ahead of that because I already did it for myself.
Right.
So I'm already listening to one for the last 2 or 3 days for myself that I'll continue to listen to every day. And basically, it's just to keep feeding my subconscious mind the different affirmations and the different things that are supporting this journey that we're on. So, and that'll be every week we're going to do these get-togethers. And if we need a new, by the end of the month, we'll need a new recording because we're going to work on different little affirmations and things. But at
Mhm.
least we have something that's talking to our subconscious mind on a regular basis besides the inner chatter. So,
Definitely. And for me, I have an inner size, I have a program um that's called Winning the Game of Weight Loss through John Assaraf. And so I listen to an inner size for an entire week. I listen to the same inner size, and this is all on just using the correct language and visualizing. And so it's about 22 minutes long. I listen to that in the morning on my walks. And so I started that yesterday. Um,
so we won't
and
have to do one for you. You've already got something.
yeah, I just do this just because for me, in order for me to stay consistent is I have to sometimes I am an overachiever. So I like to get started so that I have things and because I have all these tools um
Well, and
available to me and I've had them, I just need to incorporate them because they are helpful.
yeah, and for people that aren't on this journey with us that want to do it on their own, they can go on YouTube and get Paul McKenna's type things. I can make you
I
thin.
also listen. Yep.
Um, Now you can actually I get no commission for this. You can actually get an app for your phone with Paul McKenna. I think it's $30 a year, if you want it. And you can listen to I Can Make You Thin or I Can Make You Rich, or I'm sure there's a lot of other ones in there as well. And just don't listen to it when you're trying to go to sleep or something, in my opinion, because at the end he says, "Wake up." So, but you can listen to these things on your own, and those can be your thing that you listen to talk to your subconscious mind to assist you in changing the mindset and the programming that you have. Any tool that's out there that's available, especially the free ones, why not take advantage of them if you're not serious about wanting to do something to, to have a better mind and a better body? And so, just
Absolutely.
my
And your
suggestion.
2 cents? Oh, I like when you say just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Well, but that was a nickel. So,
Oh, okay. Well, just my 5 cents.
or my 2 bits. 2 bits is a
Yeah, two
quarter.
bits.
Yeah.
2 bit. Oh, wow. Kind of like a fortnight. I was like, what
Yeah.
is a fortnight?
I know, but two
And I
bits in
found
the
out
old
it's two
days was a
weeks, right?
quarter. So
Isn't that what a fortnight is?
I
Two
believe
weeks?
so. I believe it's
Okay.
2 weeks or something
It's
like
from
that.
all the Game of Thrones shows.
Never played it, but anyway.
Fortnite.
So that's the journey we're on, and that's what we talked about a little bit before we actually came on here. And again, without even thinking about it, it came back to mindset. It came back to self-love. It came back to commitments. Even though we didn't use those, well, we did use the word mindset a lot.
Mhm.
Even though we weren't using those words when we were talking to each other, as you sit and you actually take a look at what we do, which is help people live their dreams. Basically, we help people have set intentions and then follow through on their intentions and use whatever tool we can use to do that. Part of it is talking to the subconscious mind through affirmations, mind movies, or hypnotherapy. Other parts is just supporting each other and trying to and being able to celebrate the successes, which is what our Go Me Club is. It's
Mhm.
about this journey for us, but I want it to be about their journeys, everybody's journey. Uh, Celebrate your successes. I put something on there yesterday about celebrating successes, and someone commented on there a whole list of things that they were happy about accomplishing. Paul Moore, who I believe lives somewhere in the UK. He's in Europe somewhere. I met him over a year ago online, and it was fantastic. I felt good. It made me feel good that he's supporting his successes. So when somebody does that on Facebook or on social media, it doesn't just make you feel good. It makes other people feel good too, and it makes them say, "I can do that. I can
Right.
do that." So share your successes.
Yes, and share them often. I think that so often we're not sharing our successes. And while you were speaking, Bill, I was thinking of the movie The Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. And so if, if for me, what I got out of that message that was going through my head, if you build a community of people that are supporting each other, that are celebrating their wins, then they will come, more will come, and we'll be able to multiply the the speed at which we're manifesting the things that we want, because we're building and continue to grow our community to help others see the possibility within themselves, see that the power that they possess within themselves, see that they in celebrating their wins, big or small, they move closer and closer to what they're seeing for their future big dream, whatever that may be. And this is not the I think the difference that we're doing from what other groups that I've been a part of is that we're not telling you to do things our way. Do it what works for you, do that, but do something. Take the first step. And when you take the first step, you get closer and closer to being able to see the things that you have only dreamed about up until now, right? And so I was reading through our book this morning, It's Easy When You Believe It, and I was making some notes. And then prior to
I,
that,
I, I always have a copy by me.
Yes.
I don't necessarily have it in my pocket when I go everywhere,
Right. But
um,
it's always.
but I always have something. I always have it available. Right now, it's on my desk.
Mhm.
The halving is on my table where I sit to watch TV. Instead of watching TV, read the halving.
Mhm.
Always have something that's going to keep me in that vibration as much as possible.
Absolutely. And I was reading prior to opening up It's Easy, I was reading The Having, and you were not kidding that once you start reading, I was trying to monitor the time because I was reading, I was like, oh my God. And just the story of the elephant and the man trying to get to the well, and the serpents at the bottom, and the honey coming over, and it wasn't even about all of that. In order for you to be able, it was about essentially facing your fear head on. The fear was the elephant. You got to fight the elephant in order for you to be able to go where you need to go. And then I opened, and I was just prompted to open up my book, and then it's the same thing. It's just about taking the step. Take the step.
I'm getting goosebumps because Jonathan Livingston Seagull is similar in the first chapter. He is fighting his fears about flying 90 miles an hour when he's only supposed to be
Mm,
eating. Seagulls are only there to eat. They're not there to do all this kind of stuff. So it's basically
mhm,
about um, when you fall down, get up. It's
mhm.
about facing your fears. That whole first chapter. It's a fantastic book. But in 2024, my book of the year was The Having. And maybe second was Jonathan Livingston Seagull. It wasn't I Can Make You Rich. Or no, that's Paul
Right.
McKenna. Think and Grow Rich. It wasn't The
Mhm,
Science of Getting Rich. It wasn't, any of those books, even though they're fabulous books.
mhm.
But these are in story form, which
Yes.
just really keep you involved in it and intrigued in it and supporting you as you listen to the stories. And that is just, for me,
Mhm.
fabulous. And it was something you said about our page too that went through my mind. We're not telling you what to do, but we are there to support you. The word of
Correct.
2024 should have been support, but you didn't say it until
Mhm.
August or September uh, for me. So mine was the having in 2024. And maybe support should have been 2025 instead of inspiration, but you can't be inspirational unless you're supporting people because they all intertwine. But we are there to on social media to inspire you and to help you and to celebrate with you. And that's what that page is about. But go ahead. I interrupted you again.
Oh
I'm
no,
good at
that
interrupting.
no, it's all relative, but it's just incredible though how we're on such a very similar vibration, that the things that we're reading are just evidence of the vibration that we're on. And so Bill is in another state, I'm in a different state. And even though we're on the East Coast, we're still, we're on the same vibration because of what we're sharing with those of you listening. We're on the same vibration because of what we're doing together. And uh, different sessions that we have, where some sessions are about imagining, some sessions are about discussing better ways to support each other on our journey. Some sessions are about discussing ideas of new things that we want to incorporate into helping the individuals that are on this journey with us. And in turn, we're on their journey with them. And so it's just so powerful to be able to have these discussions, and we're on the same wavelength. For those that don't get the whole vibration thing, we're on the same wavelength.
A couple things came to mind when you were saying that. I doubt there are very many podcasts that they have discussions without even knowing what they're going to discuss before they start. And
Mhm.
really for us, it is before we meet today, we met at 10 a.m. Uh, we didn't know what we were going to talk about till about 10:10, which came out of the conversation that we were having with each other. And it wasn't like we said, let's talk about this, let's
Right.
let's talk about our journey. It was uh, what do they call that? Not generic, but it was anyway. Just came out of the flow of the conversation. This is a
Mhm.
good thing to talk about. Then, of course, it went into mindset. It went into our channel and all those things. But we didn't have that, in mind when we started talking. And the other thing that came to mind, we're like Seinfeld, the TV show Seinfeld. It's about nothing, but
Right.
it's about everything. You know,
True.
there is so much funny in a Seinfeld show, even though the subject matter might be really about nothing that's funny or nothing that's even important. And it's the
Right.
same thing with our conversations. There is so much that you can get from it, and it may be just the exact thing you need at that moment.
Hmm.
Somebody somebody on our page put down, "Thank you for the PDF you sent. That it was exactly what she needed." And
Hmm.
I thought, fantastic, because that's what it's about. If one person gets it or a million people get it, you know, it still feels it still feels good. It feels fabulous, and it motivated me to put it on there today. Ask people who wants it. For those
Right.
that didn't see it, maybe, and hopefully I'll get some other people that want the PDF that you made on
Hmm.
setting intentions. A great tool. Even if they want to use it to help their own clients or to help their family or whatever. We're giving tools. We're trying to support you in any way we can to have that better life and that better dream. So.
Absolutely. And when you have that support and you have a willingness and you decide what you want to do, then the ability to do all these things with ease and with certainty just seems to flow easily into your life.
I was listening to a guy yesterday. His name is Matthew Brownstein. He runs an Institute of Hypnotherapy School in Tampa, but it's online everywhere. And I was listening to one of his talks, and he thinks of himself as he should have been a monk kind of
Mhm.
thought process. In fact, he says that. And he says, once you're awakened, and what he meant by awakened is once you're in your growth has gotten to a certain point, you realize it's the whole thing is about love. The whole thing, everything should be about love. And if you're supporting people out of love, fantastic. If you're supporting people because of money, no, that's not why you do it. You support them because of love. If you're talking to somebody and you're judging them, that's not, you can't judge out of love. So the whole thing about being, for him, awakened was the word he used. I'm just going to say when you become, as you grow in your journey and become more at a higher vibration, it becomes a journey of love. And what comes from love? Joy. If you're doing things from love, now you're going to have joy. And you can't have joy unless all the other aspects of your life have come together too. So if you're doing something out of love, you're going to have the money that you need. You're going to have the other love from other people that you need. You're going to need the support that you're going to have the support that you need. All of that will be included as long as you live through love. So
I
there you go.
agree.
And what did
I love
Forrest
it.
Gump say? That's all I got to say about that.
That's all. Ah, well, yeah, I don't know that I have any other thoughts except that just seem to be flowing on the right vibration.
Well, yeah, everything. It's, for those of you that have not heard the story about Andrea and myself, we've never met. The only times we've met have been on a computer, on Zoom. Uh, and yet we have become very, very good friends, but our thoughts are almost lining up. when it comes to when it comes to this stuff, they're really lined up. Even though if one of us says, "Well, I disagree with that because of this," it has to do with maybe a word, not the meaning, you
Right.
know, because we're on that same vibration. I mean, when it came to changing times for our Zoom and our podcast, each one of us had the thought basically at the same time.
Yep.
And there's been others things like that are just coming to that have come to pass during this 6 month now, I guess it is, uh,
Yes. Been
partnership.
very synchronistic.
Yeah, I started to say that word, and then I thought, well, it's not coming out right. No, synchronicity, synchronicities. So, this can happen for anybody, and I'm not talking
Hmm.
about meeting somebody and 6 months later, the synchronicities are happening. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the living in a high vibrational state it can happen to anybody, and it happens because of who you surround yourself with. It comes with the thoughts that you have. It comes with your mindset. So,
Yes, and that was the part that I was reading about in our book, that really caught my attention, that it's about the individuals that you surround yourself with. And I'm going to quote our book, by the way. Um, the source within you does not engage in arguments or controversies. It simply waits, ready and willing to serve when you are prepared. However, the objective mind is highly susceptible to suggestion, making it challenging to make meaningful progress when surrounded by skeptics. For this reason, choose your friends carefully and spend time with people who already possess some of the things you truly desire.
and I would say that's us. Surround yourself with us.
Absolutely. And one of the quotes by J.P. Morgan is, the first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you are not going to stay where you are. Let me repeat that again, all of you listening. The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide, capital letters, bold print, huge, bigger than the rest of the page. I should have made it that big. You're not going to stay where you are. The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide you're not going to stay where you are.
It's a fantastic book, if I say so, even though we wrote it. It's a
Mhm.
very small book. You can read it in less than a day easily. You can read it in a
Yep.
couple hours if you really wanted to, but that
You
doesn't mean
can
you
read
should
it in
read
20 minutes if you're an avid reader.
you should read it more than once. It's
Mhm.
easy when you believe it. It's available on Amazon for less than $5, especially if you have Amazon Prime. You got free shipping. What the heck? Just make sure when it gets on your porch, you pick it up because it's so small it might blow away. Uh, but that's how easy it is to read. It's small enough that you can read it. It's written in a way that children can read
You
it,
know, there's, mhm.
or at least you can read it to them and they will understand it. It'll put your children on a path at an earlier age than you were able to get on the path, probably. And think about what their life will be like if they get on the path of self-development and believing that it really is easy when you believe it. So pick it up on
Absolutely.
Amazon, or but you should have a copy, and you should be handing out copies to people because
Mhm.
it's a fantastic little book.
Definitely. And for those of you listening to our daily talks, Bill and I believe we say some really important things, and we want to share our thoughts, our journey. But we really appreciate the support of our listeners, because it just, what it tells me is that what we're saying is of import to someone or someone's, and that our message is getting out there. And so whether we touch one person, 10 people, or a million people, the impact is the same. That we're doing this to inspire people to do better for themselves, not for anyone else, because first you have to do for self in order for you to be able to give from your overflow. And so when we have our mind right, and because our mind is right, our body is right, and because our body is right, we have the right energy, then we're able to spread that goodness and wonder to the people around us. And so we definitely appreciate your support. If what we've said today or any of our other videos has inspired something in you, like it, share it, comment it, share it with a friend or someone that you think would find value in it. As you subscribe to our channel, our impact continues to broaden, and we're able to continue to provide. And we're not doing this for anything except to spread the message of love, and of having the mindset that will get you closer to your dreams, whatever they may be, which is why this channel is called The Dream and the Journey. And so just
And it's not like we just jump out of bed and jump in front of a microphone or, whatever, so that we can say this and then get it done.
mhm,
Even though I could jump out of bed and jump in front of a microphone and probably say the same things, because I do believe that the things that come out of my mouth came from source. It comes from
mhm,
something more. But we actually live or walk the talk. Yeah, we actually walk the talk. I
mhm,
mean, we don't just, this morning I meditated. This
mhm,
morning now I exercised. This morning I ate healthy. We're doing the things that we are saying or suggesting the tools for you, and we're doing them
mhm.
for ourselves because we know it makes us, that much better. It makes us that much more, that gets us that much closer to the overall dream, which for us is helping and inspiring as many people as we can. So,
Definitely, definitely. We appreciate you listening. Again, if anything that we've said today inspires or motivates you to move forward and step out of fear into possibility, hit that like button wherever it is on
mhm.
your screen, on your phone, on your computer. Share it with those that would find value in it. We appreciate the support. We thank you for listening. Bill,
here,
do you have anything else?
here comes the salute.
And if that's all, folks,
I'll see ya.
toodles, darlings. Have an excellent day.
Yep. See ya.
Bye.